everyone, this is Doxy Mom and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't done so already, I'd greatly appreciate if you hit that little red subscribe button. You can ring the bell for notifications, and if you like this video, just give it a thumbs up. Well, Miss Peanut and I, we're going to bring you the news in 15 minutes or less, so let's get started. Now, the Gateway Pundit, they're reporting that Black Lives Matter leader, 20-year-old Tiana Arata, I believe that's how you pronounce that. Well, she was arrested last month by the SLOPD in California. Now, Tiana organized a demonstration involving more than 300 people who blocked a highway and attacked a vehicle with a 4-year-old little child inside. Now, Tiana assured the police department ahead of the rally that it would be a peaceful protest. Well, it wasn't, and now Tiana is facing 15 years in prison. She was charged with 5 felonies, including 4 felony counts of false imprisonment and 1 felony count of conspiracy. She was also hit with 3 misdemeanors charges for resisting or obstructing a peace officer, inciting a riot, and unlawful assembly. So, I am so glad that she's been arrested, and if they arrested all of these organizers whose protesters stopped traffic and caused chaos, then maybe people would stop having these violent protests. And now the people that are organizing that 50 days of protesting at the White House, hashtag White House siege that I talked to you about yesterday, well, they might want to sit up and take note about this, and I'll leave a link. Now, the Gateway Pundit, they're also reporting that the latest international testing of hydroxychloroquine shows countries that had early use of the drug, and they had a 79% lower mortality rate than countries that banned the use of the safe malaria drug. This means Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, CDC, fake news media, and all the tech giants out there, well, they've been pushing a lie that has deadly consequences. Can you say lawsuit? Now, the CDC says America has lost over 150,000 people to coronavirus. Of course, we know that number's not right. It's been exaggerated. We'll probably never know the real number. However, that number could have been lowered by possibly 80% if hydroxychloroquine would have been promoted in the United States. But many deep state governors, they've banned and continue to ban this life-saving drug. Now, I'll link this article where you'll have a link to a website that has compiled all the international data. But even developing countries like Ukraine, Greece, Cuba, Morocco, and Indonesia, they've all fared better than the United States. The American Thinker reported that the U.S. has up to 30 times more deaths per population than countries that promoted hydroxy's early use. So, if you ask me, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and all those governors that have banned hydroxychloroquine, any and all of those people who have said that this doesn't work and this is, it should be banned, well, to me, these people should be in prison. Moving on. Bryson Gray tweeted this out. Type in Antifa.com and tell me what comes up. Now, guys, you wouldn't think that things would surprise you anymore, but when you type in Google Antifa.com, a Joe Biden and Kamala Harris donation page comes up. Well, of course it does. Now, the GOP, they tweeted a quote from a pediatrician from Charlotte, North Carolina that said this: I just think the science is so clear that the risk of death or hospitalization for children with the virus is so low. But we know the risk of children missing school are catastrophic. End tweet. She's right. And guys, that leads us right into this next story. It comes from the New York Post. Now, a 10-year-old Florida girl was taking her very first online class from home from this school year when her mother was shot dead in front of her. Now, the young girl's mother, Maribel Morales Rosada, she was allegedly murdered by her angry ex-boyfriend, Donald Williams, during an attack witnessed via Zoom. Now, the teacher said that she heard a commotion, she heard a bunch of profanity, and then she muted the girl's computer. And then she realized there was some type of domestic altercation going on, but she could still see the child. And then the little girl put her hands over her ears as the gunshot rang out, y'all. Now, the child's computer, it went dark because it was struck by a projectile. And there was a total of 6 children in the home when this happened, ages 10 to 17. Now, the ex-boyfriend, he fled the scene by bicycle and boarded a bus, and he was arrested roughly 40 minutes after the shooting and charged with first-degree murder. The mother, she was rushed to the hospital where sadly she died, and it was her daughter's first day of Zoom school. Now, guys, I've taught high school for 18 years in a pretty poor rural area. I was also a homebound teacher for students where kids who couldn't come to school because they had some type of medical issue, some had had babies, whatever reason, I went to their homes and took their work and I was the go-between school and home. And guys, let me tell you, some of those houses that I walked into are heartbreaking. What people need to understand is that not every family values education. Some homes aren't safe, and most homes don't have a structured learning environment set up, and now a murder has happened. Luckily, the teacher had muted the girl, but everyone knew what had happened. And what if all of those kids would have witnessed murder in front of them? Now, I don't know anyone who wants their child witnessing a murder. Guys, we have got to get our children back in school full time. We don't shut down for the flu, and the flu kills many more children than the coronavirus. And like I've said before, Christmas cannot get here soon enough this year, and I will leave a link. Now, the American Web Media is reporting that Alabama just passed a law to castrate child sex offenders, and I'm going to read a little bit of the article to you. It says, Alabama has made a decision to stand strong against convicted child molesters because most Americans agree that criminals who steal the innocence of children are among the worst of the worst. Alabama has decided to pass a chemical castration bill that would forever change any person convicted of an abhorrent sex crime against a child under the age of 13, which is a measure approved by most people in the state. Now, State Representative Steve Hurst, he's a Republican, he introduced the bill. It was passed by the state legislature and was recently signed into law by Governor Kay Ivey. Because the state wants to make it abundantly clear that child molesters are not welcome, the law now requires that any child sex offenders over the age of 21 will be chemically castrated before they leave prison and enter society again. They have marked this child for life, and the punishment should fit the crime, Hurst said. Now, the Republican hopes that this drastic punishment will make a would-be child molester think twice before committing such a heinous crime against the youth of the state. And guys, I think it's a great law, but Attorney Raymond Johnson predicts that the law will be challenged under the 8th Amendment, which protects Americans against cruel and unusual punishment. But look what these children are going through. So in my opinion, every single state should implement this law, and I will leave a link, and I'm going to leave you with Proverbs chapter 2, verses 20 through 22 that say, Thus you will walk in the ways of the good and keep to the paths of the righteous. For the upright will live in the land, and the blameless will remain in it. But the wicked will be cut off from the land, and the unfaithful will be torn from it. Well, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, this is Doxy Mom, and God bless you all.